It feels so weird to talk about Digimon in a Pokemon video, but it needs to be done. Hey everybody, Nick from 9Card TCG, and today we are going to be talking about some lessons that maybe Pokemon can learn from Digimon. Yes, you heard that correctly. I mean what I said. The Digimon TCG, or the revised Digimon TCG, just released a few weeks ago, and I got my hands on a booster box and a starter deck, and I started going through some of the cards and play testing, and I gotta say, I like it a lot. And I like it for two reasons. And we're going to discuss both of those reasons and how maybe Pokemon can learn something from Digimon. And I know what you're gonna say, Digimon is just a Pokemon ripoff. And alright, fine, whatever. Maybe it's not your favorite show in the world, or maybe there are aspects, but everyone's stealing from everyone, right? So whatever. Pokemon is supposed to be all about evolving your Pokemon to make them stronger and better. But the evolution mechanic in Pokemon TCG is a little flawed, at least to me it is, and I didn't necessarily know how it could be improved until Digimon came about with this method we're going to talk about. So before we get into how Digimon can improve Pokemon, let's talk about evolution in Pokemon. You have a card like Rowlet. It is just a basic Pokemon. You play it, and next turn you can evolve it to a stage 1, then you can evolve into a stage 2. Cool, easy. Yeah, there are items that let you do this faster, or abilities that let you do. Okay, fine. Let's just do standard evolution. Play a card, next turn you evolve, following turn you evolve again. Okay, easy. When you evolve a Pokemon, it loses everything from the previous evolution. So going from Rowlet to Dartrix, there is no trace of Rowlet anymore, with the exception of that you needed Rowlet to play Dartrix. Same happens when you go from Dartrix to Decidueye. There is no trace of Dartrix in Decidueye's abilities or attacks, again aside from some aesthetics and the fact that you need Dartrix to play Decidueye in a normal evolution situation. In Pokemon, you can only evolve Decidueye from Dartrix, and just Dartrix only from Rowlet. That is it. There is no other way to get these Pokemon onto the field to play. Digimon does things a little bit differently, and this is a core mechanical difference between the series that will not ever change. And I know that, and you know that, but I think it's interesting and should be mentioned nonetheless. Digimon has a level system. You have level 2 Digimon all the way up to level 6 or 7 Digimon. Like Magic the Gathering and like Pokemon, Digimon has different colors associated with it. Red, green, purple, blue, black. You can take any level 3 Digimon and evolve it to any level 4 Digimon as long as it's the same color. So for example, you can take Sukiamon and evolve it into Devimon or Wizardmon. They're both level 4 purple Digimon, and they meet the one requirement or the two requirements, one level above and the same color. No other requirements needed to Digivolve. Now that we got the core mechanic out of the way, what can Digimon impart on Pokemon? If you look at Sukiamon and Devimon, for example, they have what's called an inherited effect. Let's look at Sukiamon for a moment. At the bottom of the card, it has an inheritable effect, or an inherited effect. This is an effect that Sukiamon itself does not possess. However, when you evolve it into any level 4 Digimon, now it gains that effect. So you can only use the inherited abilities or effects when you Digivolve them to the next stage, which I think is super cool. There's like this remnant of the previous Digivolutions in whatever you're using, and you can stack effects and abilities, and I think it's really interesting. I think it's a fascinating concept. So we Digivolved Sukiamon into Devimon. Devimon, in its main card text, has the retaliation ability, which if it's destroyed in battle, you destroy the Digimon that killed it. Cool, easy. but it also has the inherited effect, Retaliation, which means if you Digivolve Devimon to level 5, well, now the level 5, even if it doesn't have Retaliation as a main effect, it gains it through the inherited effect of Devimon. And that level 5 still has the level 3 effect on deletion, gain 1 memory, and we'll talk about memory in just a second. So you get this build up effect, and you get to really customize evolutions in a way that you just can't do with Pokemon. And I think it's so cool. I absolutely love it. I get so excited thinking about it, and I want Digimon to succeed so that others can experience this. And there are 5 or 6 different colors, and you can evolve in all different ways and abilities, and you can customize a playstyle so much more. And I happen to really enjoy that. You don't have half of your deck being the same, staple cards like you do in Pokemon. Every single deck has to have the same cards. However, Digimon, depending on the playstyle you want, you can add whatever you want to your deck, and it's a little bit more free and expressive, and I think it's incredible. I think it's great. Now, we talked just very briefly about memory, and I'll explain memory the best I can in the shortest amount of time. Pokemon has virtually no ways of interacting with your opponent. This is something that Frost and Caribou has mentioned many times in videos. You just sit there and you watch your opponent do whatever they want to you. They are just manhandling you sometimes, and you have to just sit there and take it, and it's frustrating and it's annoying, and you know you can beat this deck, or this you can win this game, but they pull some crazy combo off, and it's annoying, right? I mean, I can't be the only one who finds it a little bit annoying that you lose because they top deck a Dedenne, and then they can discard their hand, and now they get a Professor's Research and they discard their hand again, and it's like, yeah, I get it, it's part of the game. But it'd be cool if there was a way to at least a little bit interact with your opponent. And yes, some cards like Vikavolt V, make it so that your opponent can't play item cards if you attack with that card. And there's some things you can do, very little. But Digimon kind of circumvents this issue. It's not like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you have counter spells or trap cards. You have a shared mana pool, and if you're not familiar with mana is energy required to either play a Digimon or cast a spell or item card, whatever, and it's shared between both players. So it's on a scale of 12 to negative 12, and we'll call the negative side your opponent's side. So the game starts off with 0 memory, and as soon as you play something, you subtract memory equal to the cost of the item. So if you have 0 memory and you play a card with a memory cost of 2, you now have 2 memory, which means your opponent gains 2 memory. Once you go past 0 into the negative or onto your opponent's side, your turn ends. You have to be so careful about playing your cards properly, playing your turn. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit higher of a skill ceiling because there's more opportunities for error. You play a card before you mean to, and now all of a sudden your turn's over, because as soon as your memory goes past 0, your turn ends when the card effects resolve. So I get it, it might not be the most kid-friendly like Pokemon kind of strives to be, but it's a little more interesting in the sense that you can leave your opponent with 1 or 2 memory and force them to either not play a card or play a card end their turn and give you a lot of memory to work with during your turn. So it's like this constant tug of war between memory and leaving your opponent with as little memory as possible while getting all the cards you can onto the field. I think it's a really cool, interesting concept, and like I said, it forces you to be a little strategic. That is 2 things that I think Pokemon could learn from Digimon. Do I think either of them will happen? Absolutely not. Definitely not the evolution aspect. Pokemon ain't changing that. But maybe if you want to reduce the power creep that is being introduced into Pokemon with Pokemon V and V Max and all these kind of things, well, why not tone down or scale down the power and add these inherited effects. You can make it so that your Pokemon still feel powerful without being these incredibly large, tanky Pokemon, but they still feel good because they have a bunch of inherited effects, and you can build your deck around specific playstyles, and you can have archetypes within grass or archetypes within fire instead of just having your standard Centiskorch fire deck or your Charizard fire deck where all of them are virtually the same. I think it'd be a fascinating way. I mean, there are 800 something Pokemon, and yet only a couple of them are viable. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't sit well with me. I wish they would do something different, and they're obviously not afraid to introduce new mechanics. We've had tag teams, VMAX, now we're getting battle styles, so they're not afraid to add game mechanics, and I don't see why inherited effects couldn't be something they add as things start to rotate out. The mana system will never happen because we already have the energy system, and you can't have mana and energy. I think that'd be too much, and they're not going to make it so that you can evolve any grass type Pokemon, any stage 2 from any, stage 1, as long as the same. Like that'll never happen. But it's cool to discuss the differences between these games, what makes them successful, what needs to be changed, what needs to be tweaked more. And I definitely think Digimon has a place in competitive TCG, simply because you can interact with your opponent without having to worry about everything you play getting countered, which is a flaw in something like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, where there's so many counters, but it becomes annoying to the point where you can't even play anything. Pokemon is the exact opposite of that, where your opponent can play anything they want, and Digimon maybe not is a perfect medium. I think it's too new to know that, but at least it provides a layer of control against your opponent to limit how much they can do in a given turn. But anyway, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know, do you think the Digimon system is at least interesting? Maybe not something that gets incorporated into Pokemon, but is it an interesting enough system where maybe you consider learning about Digimon TCG? Some of the artwork is incredible. I mean, look at Devimon. That is a cool card, and if you don't think so, I don't know what to tell you. Devimon is, I mean, there are so many cool looking cards in Digimon. It has a great, fascinating memory system and evolution system, so I definitely recommend checking it out. I can't wait to be able to get out there and play more. I have 2 decks built, ready to go, and I want to improve on them. I want to build them up and see what happens, but that's, for the future. Anyway, thanks so much. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share this with other people, find out what they think, and let me know in the comments. Like I said, do you think Digimon has some potential as a competitive TCG game, or do you think it's going to go in a year or 2 and fall by the wayside? Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.